You found your way to Daily Strength. Welcome. Joe Stowell here. And let's talk about when slaves become sons. Our scripture passage, Galatians 4:7, where we read, "So you are no longer a slave, but a son. And since you are a son, God has made you also an heir." Now, for some lucky students, it's a day off of school. But it's possible that the fact that today is President's Day, it just may have slipped your notice. Nestled between Valentine's Day and St. Patrick's Day, President's Day gets lost in the shuffle of cards and roses and shamrocks. But nonetheless, it is an important day, remembering presidents like Washington and Lincoln, to whom we owe a great debt, puts our lives in a richer perspective. Think, for instance, of President Lincoln. Now, he will be remembered forever for eliminating the shame of slavery in the United States. Driven by his convictions against the tide of popular opinion and entrenched racism, Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, an executive order freeing the slaves. And in so doing, he joins the exclusive club of persons like Wilberforce and even Moses, who risked much to proclaim freedom for the oppressed. The New Testament is no stranger to the dynamics of slavery. In Paul's day, every major city had a place in the market where slaves were bought or sold. When a slave was brought to the auction block, he knew that his fate would be sealed by the one who paid the highest price for him. And there were three possible outcomes. The slave could be purchased to become a slave to his new owner, or the winner of the bid could set the newly purchased slave free. Clearly, most slaves standing naked before the gawking bidders hoped for the highly unlikely possibility that they might be set free. But more unlikely still was the prospect that legally the highest bidder could adopt the slave and make him a son, which would mean that the former slave would have full family privileges and an equal place in the family inheritance. Well, this option was so remote that it was more than a slave could hope for. Hopelessly stuck in servitude, the thought of becoming a son was the stuff that impossible dreams are made of. And as you're thinking of that, think of yourself. There are only two kinds of people in this world, those who are in bondage to Satan and those who by God's grace are his sons. In fact, according to Romans 6, all of us were born slaves to the regime of hell. And then Jesus, in his love and mercy, showed up in the marketplace of sin. He saw you on the slave block, naked and bound with no hope. And as the bidding grew more intense, he lifted his nail-scarred hand. He pointed to you, and all the bidding ceased. For no one can outpay the price that he paid for you. And as your feet were unshackled, and as soldiers led you to his side, you heard words that you thought you would never hear. You heard him say, "I love you. I want to make you my son, a full heir. I love you. I want to make you my daughter." And now, with God as your Father, full family privileges are yours. Access to a loving Father, the inheritance of the indwelling Spirit, full rights to treasures like peace, comfort, confidence, joy, and the assurance of the fact that soon heaven will be yours. All these things belong to you forever. And, as you can imagine, slaves who became sons and daughters were forever grateful and happily served their father without hesitation. Well, since we too are no longer slaves, but sons and daughters, it seems to me that my life and yours should be spontaneously lived to love and serve him as well. Lincoln freed the slaves, but only Jesus can make a slave a son. Only Jesus can make a slave a daughter. No wonder the hymn writer penned, "My chains fell off, my heart was free. I rose, went forth, and followed thee. Amazing love, how can it be that thou, my God, should die for me?"